Good evening, everyone. I'm Shital Shah, Secretary ANMI Western Region. On behalf of ANMI, a very warm welcome to all our members joining us for today's webinar. In a dynamic world of financial markets, understanding the nuisance of capital efficiency is paramount. Today, we deep dive into a critical operational areas like cash and non-cash collaterals, margin utilization, and collateral allocation process. This session is organized in association with NCL, and we are grateful for their support in bringing this technical expertise to our forum. Today, we have with us experts from NCL. Our first speaker is Shri Sachin Shetty. He's chartered accountant by profession with 17 plus years of experience in capital markets, primarily in post-trade market infrastructure that includes risk, clearing, and settlement. He has worked in various profiles over the years, ranging from risk management, clearing operation, and project management. Currently, he is working with NSE Clearing as Vice President, Risk Operation. Welcome you, sir. We have another speaker, Shri Sijo. He is Chartered Accountant by profession and associated with NSE Clearing for more than 19 plus years. He's been part of various areas comprising post-trade market infrastructure that includes risk, clearing, and settlement operations, project management and settlement of OTC trades in corporate debt securities. Currently, he is working with NSE Clearing as Vice President, Collateral Operations. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sachin Shetty and Shri Sijo. I now request our Western Region Chairman, Mr. Arjun Shah, to give introductory remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shital. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for taking time out to join us today. Today, what we're doing now is that in association with NCL, we are going to be doing a series of webinars that focus on things like segregation, uh, allocation, and there are a few more webinars that we're planning out that deal with our day-to-day issues that are faced and to in a sense remove any ambiguity into the process, because the client level collateral segregation is now one of the core of our reportings, with your cash and cash equivalent, your bank balances and all reportings going away. This has now become a singular focus for the exchange, for compliance, that we have to report to them now. This is no longer just a back office process for us. This is a single point reporting that we do, that on which all our on-site, off-site alerts depend on. Now, within this, the segregation file, as you know, is quite vast. Members are dealing with a few real-time challenges like correct allocation of collaterals across the segments, managing the cash and non-cash mix, the 50-50 ratios, understanding the effective collaterals, uncovered margins, and ensuring that the NMAS and depository and API-based pledge flows run smoothly in compliance at the same time. Now, there are also we're going to touch on a few new collateral avenues such as GSECs, mutual funds and FDs, bank guarantees, and even Bullion in this expanding toolkit. Today's session, we aim to focus on these concepts and walk through a few practical scenarios. NCL has identified 8 different scenarios wherein our 50-50 cash and collateral mix is impacted, how they are calculated, and we will address the implementation issues that you'll be facing on the ground, and and taking this ahead, we'll be able to more effectively manage our cash ratios in comparison to the collaterals. So I'll particularly like to thank the NCL team for this initiative. We're very appreciated that you are doing this. It helps us brokers on the ground as to how exactly to take this ahead. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun sir. I invite Shri Sijo and Shri Sachin ji to take the session ahead.
Um,
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to explain the client collateral segregation. So before we begin, earlier the clearing members were required to provide their deposits to the clearing corporation. There was no segregation at the client level, and even then, clearing members were required to maintain collaterals uh, when it comes to cash and non-cash component in the ratio of 50 is to 50. Later on, in a phase-wise manner, when SEBI introduced segregation of client collateral, starting with uh, the pledge depledge mechanism, wherein client collateral in the form of securities was being accepted directly from the depositories. Even then, the monitoring of the collaterals at the same level continued in the ratio of 50 to 50. And with the 2021 circular, wherein SEBI introduced segregation and monitoring of collateral at client level, uh, the monitoring still continued at 50 to 50 basis. That is, the CM level collaterals have to be maintained in the ratio of 50 to 50 basis. However, if a client of the clearing member, if they have excess non-cash, then this excess non-cash, even though it is not in the ratio of 50 to 50 basis at the client level, uh, the benefit to the excess non-cash, that is the excess non-cash, would become eligible if it is supported by the excess cash at the clearing member level. So to put it simply, a client non-cash, if it's in excess, even though it's not supported by the client cash, it will become eligible if there is CM excess cash available. So as Arjun sir said, we have listed down some 8 scenarios of different cash and non-cash collateral at the client level. And we have shown how the implementation is done at the clearing corporation level. So we will take you one by one through the scenarios, and we are happy to take questions for each scenario. If the members want any clarification for each scenarios, we are happy to take it on the go. So beginning with the 8 scenarios, um, before we proceed, there are certain terminologies that we have used in the presentation for the clients as well as clearing member. So whenever we say client cash, it is the cash that has been allocated at the client level, plus the securities or the GSEC or the cash mutual funds which have been pledged through the depository system. And non-cash purely means securities on which the haircut is being applied and which is being pledged to the depository systems. When we say client effective collateral, it means the effective collateral of the client considering the ratio of 50 is to 50. That means any non-cash, excess non-cash of the client will be excluded when the client effective collateral is being computed. Total margin is the margins that is applicable on the client's portfolio. It could be span, it could be ALM, it could be delivery margins, it could be margins on account of consolidated credit loss obligations. When we use the word client margin greater than 90%, it means the uncovered margins, that is the total margins which is greater than more than 90% of the effective collateral, that is which is not getting covered by 90% of the effective collateral. And when we say client excess non-cash, it is the at the client level we are seeing whether the non-cash is greater than cash, and 90% of such excess is considered as 90% of client excess non-cash. Eligible non-cash simply means because any even though there is excess non-cash, the benefit to that eligible the excess non-cash shall be only be available provided there is a margin requirement. That is one thing. There is an excess non-cash which has been computed using the 90% of a client excess non-cash. And third, there should be some excess cash available at the CM level to support this excess non-cash. So all these 3 criteria are required. Similarly, for clearing members, if we say CM cash, it is again the cash that has been allocated at the CM prop level, plus the government securities or cash mutual funds or guild mutual funds that has been pledged to the depository system. CM non-cash, again, it would be non-cash securities that has been pledged to the pledged for the CM proprietary level through the depository systems. Effective collateral would be the CM effective collateral in the ratio of 50 is to 50. CM prop margins would be margin on the CM props portfolio. And TM margins greater than 90% means the client level uncovered margins, which gets aggregated across clients and is added to the CM prop margins. CM excess cash would be any excess cash of the CM prop at the CM prop level, that is cash over and above the non-cash, we consider 90% of it. Minimum liquid net worth is as mandated by SEBI. There is a certain amount on which exposure is not currently available. So that is 50 lakhs as in case of FNO segment. Total margin utilized would be the margins, the CM prop margins, that is the margins on the CM portfolio. That is CM that could be span, ELM, delivery margins, and margins on consolidated crystallized obligations. And in the end, we arrive at the margin utilization, which is nothing but the total margins utilized divided by the CM's effective collateral reduced to the extent of ML and W. And when we say total margin utilized, it is the CM prop margins plus the client uncovered margins, which are added to the CM proprietary margins. So basis these terminologies, we are moving ahead to the scenarios. So there are 8 scenarios that we are covering today here. Scenario 1 would be a scenario where the client has only non-cash and no cash has been allocated to the client, but there is excess cash available at the clearing member. So if you numerically, if you see the scenarios on the screen over here, so we have considered the cash to be 0, non-cash to be 50,000. So effectively, because it is not in the ratio of 50s to 50, the effective collateral of the client is 0. This client has a margins of around 55,000. So when we compare the client margins, the client total margins with 90% of the client effective collateral, the entire margins will be entire client margins greater than 90% would be 55,000 because the effective collateral itself is 0. Now then we see two things: whether there is excess non-cash available at the client level, and whether there is excess cash available at the CM level. So if you see the excess non-cash that is available at the client level is 50,000, and we only consider 90% of it, so it comes to around 45,000. Since the benefit is lower of the margins and the 90% of client excess non-cash, so we compare 55,000 client margins greater than 90%. Sorry. And 90% of the client excess non-cash, whichever is minimum. So it comes to around 45,000. So this is the eligible non-cash, which can be considered as benefit towards the client margins greater than 90%. But that is only possible if there is CM cash supporting it. So if you see the last column, that is a CM excess cash available of 72,000. So this entire 45,000 can be supported by the CM excess cash. So when we compute the utilization at the clearing member level, we have a CM cash collateral of 1 lakh, CM non-cash of 20,000. So the effective collateral, even considering the 50s to 50 basis, comes to around 1,20,000. We have considered a CM prop margins of 60,000. Now we know that 55,000 is going to get added over here. And from that 55,000, because there is eligible non-cash of 45,000, which is supported by the CM excess cash of 70,000. So the benefit of 45,000 will also be available. So effectively, adding 55,000 and reducing it by 45,000, we get a figure of 10,000. That is why the TM margins greater than 90% is only 10,000. Because ideally, when 55,000 should have been added, at the same time, the client got a benefit of 45,000. That is why only 10,000 is getting added over here. So the total margins at the CM prop level would be CM's own margin of 60,000 plus 10,000 uncovered margins after considering the excess non-cash benefit. So the total margin utilization will be 70,000. And if we divide 70,000 divided by 1,20,000 of effective collateral, we get a utilization of 58.33%. Coming to scenario 2, say there is only non-cash for the client and no excess cash at the CM level. So in this case, if we consider the previous example itself, if consider the figures as in the previous example itself, say suppose cash is 0, non-cash is 50,000. So the effective collateral again will be 0. To total margins, we have assumed to be 55,000. That is why the uncovered margins for the client would be the entire 55,000 because there is no effective collateral available, 90% of effective collateral available over here. There is an excess non-cash of 50,000, 90% of which is 45,000. So if we compare the margins with the eligible, with the excess non-cash available, the minimum of it would be eligible non-cash, which is 45,000. Now to support that, there is no CM excess cash available over here. CM cash is 60, CM non-cash is 60, effective collateral is 120 in the ratio of 50 is to 50. but there is no excess CM cash available over here. So the entire 55,000 gets added over here because there is nothing to, there's no excess CM cash to give benefit to this 45,000. So now the total margins at this at the CM level will be 60,000 plus the uncovered margins of 55,000. Therefore, the total margin utilized would be around 1,15,000, and therefore the margin utilization goes to 95.83%. So the similar margin requirements for scenario 1 and scenario 2, but due to excess non-cash not being available, we could not pass on any benefit at the CM prop level, and hence the margin utilization has increased from 58.33% to 95.83. Moving to the next scenario, scenario 3. In this case, there is only cash available for the client and there is excess cash at the CM level. And scenario 4 also says that there is only cash for the client but no excess at the CM level. So we will see that in such a scenario where the cash is sufficient to cover the margin requirement, the utilization more or less remains the same. So if you take scenario 3 example, cash is 50,000, non-cash is 0. So effective collateral, entire effective collateral is available in as per the 50:50 ratio, that is 50,000. Margins are 55,000. So the client margin greater than 90% would be 55,000 minus 90% of 50,000. That is 55,000 minus 45,000, which comes to around 10,000. And this 10,000 gets added as TM margins greater than 90% at the CM level. So we have an effective collateral of 1,20,000. CM prop margin is 60,000. Uncovered margins is 10,000. The total margin utilization comes to around 70,000. That is 60,000 plus 10,000. 70,000 divided by 1,20,000 comes to around 58.33%. In scenario 4, considering the same scenario, that is 50,000 of cash is available, 55,000 is the margin requirement, the uncovered margin stays at 10,000. Even if there is no excess cash available over here, that is cash and CM non-cash are both are 60,000 over here, so there is no excess cash available over here. So the clearing level margins would be 60,000 plus the 10,000 uncovered margins that has come from the client. The total margins are 70,000 divided by the same 1,20,000. The utilization remains at 58.33%. So if we compare the previous two scenarios with these scenarios, so the client having a cash and the client having a non-cash, we have seen that as soon as the CM excess cash is not supporting the client non-cash, the margin utilization at the CM level increases. Moving forward, we have introduced the cash and non-cash for clients. And when we introduce cash and non-cash for clients, that could be a scenario where either the non-cash is greater than cash or the cash is greater than non-cash. So we are in scenario 5 and 6, we are covering the scenario where cash and non-cash is available for the client and the non-cash is greater than cash. Even in these cases, there could be two possibilities. There is excess cash available at CM level or there is no excess cash available at CM level. So scenario 5, we are looking at a scenario where cash and non-cash is available for the client. The non-cash of the client is greater than the cash of the client, and there is excess cash available at CM level. So here in this example, we have said that the cash is 20,000, which is lower than the non-cash of 50,000. So effectively, the collateral in the ratio of 50:50 comes to around 40,000 only. The total margins we have assumed to be 55,000. In this case, the client margins greater than 90% would be 55,000 minus 90% of 40,000, which comes to around 19,000. Since the cash is less than the non-cash, definitely there is excess non-cash available. The excess non-cash is around 30,000 over here. 90% of that comes to around 27,000. Now, since we consider only minimum margins and the 90% of client excess non-cash, therefore the eligible non-cash would only be 90,000. And then we see whether there is any excess CM cash available over here. Since 72,000 is available as excess CM cash over here, the entire 19,000 can be passed on as benefit at the CM prop level. So what we do is we take the 90,000, add it at the TM margins greater than 19%, and then we reduce the benefit of 19,000 at the TM margins greater than 90%. Hence the impact is 0 over here. So CM cash is 1,20,000. 60,000 is the prop margin. 19,000 of client margins greater than 90% gets offset by 19,000 of the eligible non-cash. So the impact is 0 over here. So the total margin utilizes is as good as the CM prop margins. Hence the utilization comes to around 50%, 60,000 divided by 1,20,000. In the next scenarios, everything being the same, we are assuming that there is no cash at the CM level. So we have cash 20,000, non-cash 50,000, effective collateral in the ratio of 50 is to 50 is 40,000. The total margins is 55,000. Therefore, the client margins greater than 90%. Sorry, but am I audible?
Yeah, clear, very clear.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, thank you. So the total margin is 55,000. So client margin greater than 90% would be 55,000 minus 90% of 40,000, that is 36,000. So 55,000 minus 36,000 comes to around 19,000. 90% of the client excess non-cash, that is 30,000. 90% of 30,000 comes to around 27,000. Minimum of client margin greater than 90% and 90% of client non-cash would become the eligible non-cash. Then we see whether it is supported by the CM excess cash, which is 0. So the entire 90,000 gets added as TM margins greater than 90% with nothing available as offset from the excess non-cash. So overall, the CM prop margin was 60,000. We have added 19,000 to it. The total margin utilized is 79,000. 1,20,000 was the effective collateral at the CM level. So 79,000 minus 1,20,000 would be 65.83. So with the excess cash at CM level, when the utilization was 50%, it has now increased to 65.83%. And the last two scenarios, again, we have assumed cash and non-cash at the client level, but here the non-cash is less than cash. And even in those, there could be two scenarios. That is, excess cash is available at CM level and no excess cash is available at CM level. So for scenario 7, we have said that cash and non-cash for client is there and non-cash is less than cash with excess cash available at CM level. So we have got cash of 60,000, which is greater than the non-cash of 50,000. So the total effective collateral in the ratio of 50 is to 50 is 1,10,000. We have assumed the margins of 1 lakh. So the client margin greater than 90%, that is 1 lakh minus 90% of 1,10,000, it comes to around 1,000. This 1,000 will get added over here. There is no excess non-cash available here. So there's nothing to offset against this client margins greater than 90%. So if the CM prop margin is 60,000, we add 1,000 of TM margin greater than 90%, it comes to 61,000. Divided by the effective collateral of the CM of 1,20,000, the utilization percentage comes to around 50.83%. If we continue with the same scenario, but assuming no excess cash at CM level, then even in that case, the scenario continues to be remain the same. So there is 1,000 excess at the client level. It gets added as TM margin greater than 90%, which is added to the CM prop margin, and we get a total margin of 61,000. If we divide it by 1,20,000, the utilization remains same at 50.83%. So as we have seen from this 8 scenario, the change in utilization percentage only happens most of the time only happens in case there is any excess non-cash at the client level, which is supported by the excess cash at the CM level. The moment there is no excess cash at the CM level, the overall CM utilization always increases. So that is there with this 8 scenarios. If the participants have any queries regarding these scenarios, we are happy to take it now.
The anyone who has questions, please post them on the YouTube channel on the chat. The NCL team will be reading it out and will address it. Also, this video is going to be available on the ANMI WR YouTube channel. So in case you want to go back, revisit what has been said or show it to your people, that knowledge base will be available. So we can, we look at the WhatsApp channels for the, sorry, look at the YouTube channel for any questions. Meanwhile, we can move the presentation ahead.
Okay. Okay, sir. So Sijo will now continue with the collaterals part. So he will be sharing his screen now.
Okay. Uh, so I'll take you through the collateral process. So while I have added most of the, I mean, most of the slides regarding collateral allocations. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I was saying that while I have added most of the slides in terms of what kind of collaterals are there, how they are added, how they are valued, I assume that most of the things are familiar to our participants, and probably will concentrate on few areas where there can be a little more clarification is required. So now we know that all our collateral processes are moved from CIM portal to NMAS portal. So you have one single member interface for all your member collateral allocation or collateral related processes with NCL. So I'll start with cash. So you log into NMAS. There is a facility to deposit cash. That is, you can see on the right side, you have four sub buckets under collateral management. One is allocation, other is deposit, third is release and transfer, and fourth is report. So all our earlier allocation related fields are under the allocation bucket. The CIM facilities which were available for deposit and release have been moved to NMAS under deposit, release and transfer, and reports modules. So the other processes remaining same, wherein the member has to select the segment, and the bank automatically populates. He can input the amount of cash deposit they want to put. This request goes to the bank for confirmation. Once the bank confirms it, the amount will automatically be seen in your collateral pool, wherein you can do the allocations. So there is no change in process. Only the interface has changed from CIM to NMAS. Coming to BG and FD, again the processes are very familiar, but just wanted to take you through. Physical FDRs, you have member letter, bank lien letter, the FDR receipt. Uh, the same has to be submitted to our regional offices. Even though now most of our FDRs are coming to electronic mode, I think more than 80% of the FDRs are now in electronic mode. For electronic mode, definitely the process is very simple. You approach the banks who are having EFDR facility, and you do the necessary uh, documentation with the bank, and the FDR is created with the bank, and a message either through API or SFMS is sent to NSE Clearing. Similarly, with bank guarantees, you have your traditional physical bank guarantees in the prescribed format. You submit it to our regional office, and a SFMS confirmation from your bank is required. Unless and until the SFMS confirmation is received to NCL, we cannot proceed with the processing of that bank guarantee. Once the SFMS confirmation is received from your bank, uh, we will process the bank guarantee, and thereon you can see that amount in your collateral pool. As far as electronic bank guarantee is concerned, your bank will log into any SL portal. They will upload your bank guarantee. SFMS confirmation is required here as well. Once the BG is seen for its accuracy, uh, that is in prescribed format, and then later on when the SFMS confirmation is received, we will process the BG and the amount is seen in your collateral information pool. This is how the screen looks like. If your bank guarantee is a fungible bank guarantee, it will reflect in the fungible collateral available for allocation. If your bank guarantee is a non-fungible bank guarantee, it will reflect in this segment specific uh, uh, tab which is seen in your collateral inquiry pool. Now let's come to allocation. We have screen-based allocation, we have file uploads, and we have API-based allocation. Screen-based allocation is quite similar. Once the amount is available in the pool, you can either make a new request or you can make a modification to your existing request. Now, new request is only possible when your client to whom you want to do an allocation was never allocated earlier. So this is only for those clients who were never there was no allocation done earlier in the past. If the client for which you are looking has been the allocation was done in the past, you will have to go to the modify screen and modify the amount which was earlier allocated. So that is one area probably members have a little confusion when they should use a new request, when they should use a modify request. So new request only for new clients, and modify request will be used for clients for which you have done allocation earlier. The process is very simple. You select the CM segment, you put the client code, the amount for which you want to do allocation, and you can press the button for immediate allocation. Similarly, for modifying, you put the respective client code. The amount which is already allocated will reflect in the amount column. You can modify the amount, and you can see the status as well. So this is a process for adding or putting a new request or modifying the existing allocation. So what things you have to take care is this metrics. Whenever you want to do allocation for your CM prop level, you only select the segment and press the search button. So automatically the amount which is allocated to your CM prop will be populated. You can modify the amount. If you are a CM TM, you have TMs under you, then you can select the segment CM TM code and do the search button. Now press the search button, you will find the allocation which is already available. Similarly, if you have a CP for which you are doing, you don't put the TM code, you put your segment and the CP code. If you want to allocate it for the client, then you have to put three input parameters: segment, TM code, and client code. So these are the ways where you can search and do a screen based allocation or modify a screen based allocation for your clients or your TMs. File upload, again there is a there is a provision to upload a file. You can use a browse functionality, upload the file, and immediately you will be able to see the allocations in your download folder and the status of the download folder. So there are two status which you have to take note of. One is the status of the file, whether the file is uploaded or not, and the other is the status of the records inside the file. So you have two status. One is the status of the file, whether all the files have been the whole file has been processed or not, or if you download the file you will see record based status of each records. So sometimes it is possible that you think that the file upload is still under processing, but if you see inside you will find that the records have been already processed or probably some of them are pending. So this is how you can check the status of your file which is uploaded. So here what we are saying is that members have the few things which you need to take care at the time of file upload. One is the format of the file. So date format has to be a DD MMM YYY. So no other date format will be acceptable. If you try to write 2104, it will not be acceptable. So you have to write in the same format. Clearing member code is always your primary member code. So don't get confused with your CM IDs. So if you have that 5-digit code, that is what we want you to put it there. uh, for again the metrics will remain same. For CM prop you only put the CM code. For TM prop you put CM code and TM code, and similarly for client you want to put CM code, TM code, and client code. So this is what you have to take care when you upload a file. For any reason, if you are getting a system error or an error code as 213, that means for some reason this record is not accepted at NCL, members are requested to make the allocation request again, because there are certain scenarios where at that moment of time it is not processed at NCL for many technical reasons. So if you get a code 213, that is the error code, that means you have to upload the file again, and this is true for both file upload as well as API. So we have covered allocations, cache additions, BG additions, FD additions, and how this amount will reflect in your pool, how you can allocate, three ways to allocate: API, file upload, and screen based. Securities, again, people are familiar, and many of them are using this securities margin pledge replace mechanism. This is just a mechanism, a slide to show how this process happens. You request for getting admitted for providing this pledge. We will share you the documents, that is the pledge deed. You will have to give us the client master details so that we can verify and map those accounts at our end. Once the mapping is complete, we will inform you over the mail, and you can pledge start doing the margin pledge from the next day. GSEC, I'm just concentrating on the GSEC which is available through our CSGL account, because for GSEC which comes through demat mode, the process is absolutely the same which is for available for securities. For GSEC which comes through CSGL account, the certain KYC requirement is there as per the RBI guidelines. So you have to execute an agreement. Once that agreement is done, we will intimate you that you are ready to provide GSEC through a CSGL account. uh, the process is very simple. Wherever you have a GSEC in your CSGL account, you will have to use a transfer margin module with the reason code exchange transfer. So we are using the e-Kuber facility which is given by RBI. There are certain parameters which we have to mandatorily put. So we have to use the margin transfer module with reason code exchange transfer. So there is a field to update the exchange code. So probably your CSGL account holders will CGL account provider will know this. So there are two steps here. One is that you put the GSEC request in NMAS, and then you transfer the GSEC to our CSGL account. So once your GSEC request is received in NMAS, there is a field where a reference number is required. That is the reference number for transfer which you have done through your CSGL account to NCL CSGL account. So provide with that reference number, this will be matched, and your GSEC will be accepted. Once the GSEC is accepted, you can of course allocate it through NMAS. Similarly for release, the GSEC you can go to the release module and select the GSEC which you want to release, and that request will get processed. Bullion as collaterals. This is just an overview, even though that not many members active providing bullions as collateral, but the process is you approach the NCL empaneled vault service provider. You deposit the bullion with them. The quality assessment is done by the vault service provider, and the moment the vault service provider accepts, it will check the quality and all the other documents. The moment they accept, you will see that entry in the IMS portal which is available to the members. So member can log into the IMS and see their collaterals, which bullions which have deposited. They have two options now. Once it is available in IMS, they can use it towards their sell transaction, or they can use it towards the collaterals. So if they want to use it towards their collaterals, they will have to use that module to push that bullion towards the deposits, towards collaterals, and automatically our collateral system will accept it and process it, and it will reflect against the members collateral. Very quickly, collateral release is similar to collateral addition. You go to the module, select the instrument type, and you select the respective. If it is cash, cash. If you select the securities, you can select the securities and so on. So I'm not going much into collateral release. One thing which you should take note of is that the moment you are trying to release cash, BG, or FD, you should ensure that the amount is available in the collateral pool, that is a fungible collateral pool. Otherwise, it will not process. It will show you a error or a error rejection message. So you have to ensure before putting release for cash, BG, FD that the amount should be available in the collateral pool. Renewal of collaterals, I have it's a very normal process, but I have put it here because it is important that FDs and bank guarantees are renewed before the maturity. Because if you do not renew it before the maturity, then the allocations which you have made against the value of that collateral will automatically be done away with. So if you don't renew your FDRs or bank guarantees before renewal, you will lose the allocations from mostly from your prop allocations which you have made in various segments. So members have to ensure that they are renewing it on time, at least before the date of maturity. Or else if they want to they want to not renew those instrument types, they will have to ensure that that much amount is available in the collateral pool. so that NCL does not use the prop allocations done by the members. This is the same slide which I was talking about. Members should ensure that on the day of maturity, if they're leaving the FDRs or bank guarantees for maturity and not renewing it, they should make the funds available in the pool. Now let's come to short allocation. Probably this is something which members are interested. So short allocation is, all of us know that it is compared vis-a-vis the peak margin and the end of day margins. So first we'll understand the parameters here. One is the minimum margin, which is checked for short allocation. In cash market, it is 20% in lieu of VAR and ELM. So basically 20% of the value of the trade. And for derivatives, it is PAN plus ELM based on BOD parameters. So I'm sure that by this time we know that what is the minimum margin which we are capturing at the time of peak margin or probably at the end of day. So uh, uh, second parameter is second parameter is the collateral which we are going to check. So here the allocated collateral plus the securities value. So this is already provided in the NMA screen. So allocated collateral is something which is in your control. You can always see that. And value of securities is whatever we receive in the margin pledge repledge mechanism. And here one thing to note is that here we do not consider the 50 any of the potential norms. So neither the overall limits or 50-50 ratio which is considered for margin calculation. Here all the value of the securities will be considered for the purpose of arriving at the collateral of the client. So margin and collateral and excess collaterals will be considered at the time of snapshot. If there is any collateral which is in excess in other segment, that will be considered for calculating the shortfall, and that will be populated in your SA04 report at the end of the day. A few things to take note of. It is monitored on intraday basis at the time of peak margin. Maximum short allocation across all snapshot is considered, and the penalty is, if there is any case of penalty, it will be seen in the SO04 file. The snapshot number is mentioned in the SO04 file. So let's say if there is an excess collateral in your first snapshot, let's say if you had the client had margins in CM segment, no collaterals allocated in CM segment, but the same TM UCC client combination had collaterals in FNO segment. So when I take the first snapshot, I will identify that there is a shortfall in cash market. But by the time I generate my SA04 report at the end of the day, I know the snapshot figures in all the segments. So if there is, in this case, when I see that there was excess collateral in FNO segment, I will adjust that or populate that excess collateral in the SA04 report and finally arrive at the shortfall. So if sufficient collateral is in excess in the other segment, we will consider that and there will be no shortfall in that SA04 report, which will be provided at the end of the day. Permitted reason codes. Again, by this time, most of you are familiar with these reason codes. 01 is excess collateral available in other CC. So be careful about this code. Second is the value of securities sold for which EPI has been done. Here we have you have to understand there are two interpretations here. One for cash market and the other is for derivatives. So for cash market, if you have sold a security and done an EPI, you can consider it both for intraday and for EOD shortfalls. But if you have done an EPI and provided the benefit of that EPI to the client in FNO segment, then you can use it in FNO segment for intraday shortfalls. So let's assume that there was a client who had sold in cash market, done an EPI worth 1 lakh rupees, and took exposure in FNO segment where there was no allocation done, for which margin requirement is, let's say, 80,000. So you can use the reason code as 02 in derivative segment for intraday. However, you are supposed to allocate it by end of day so that there is no end of day shortfall in derivative segment. However, in cash market, you can continue it for intraday as well as EOD. Reason code 03, both segments, if it is executed in wrong client code, 04 for cash market for trades done on behalf of NRI codes, both intraday and EOD. 05 is for those allocations which you have done, but because of the time taken for processing either at your end or our end, it was not reflected at the time of the snapshot taken. So it is purely intraday. And the a very simple example is the snapshot is taken at 10:30. You have put the allocation, or you have started the allocation at 10:28, and by the time your allocation was complete, it was 10:31, and the snapshot was taken at 10:30. So at the time of snapshot, there could be a shortfall which is seen. However, you know that this was done before the trade and it was in the processing. You can use the reason code as 05, and again this is only for intraday shortfalls which can come. Similarly, same logic goes for 06. In this is in case of securities, where you have started with this process of giving the margin pledge, and the pledge has not been accepted, or the benefit is still not received by NCL to your respective client. You can use 06 as a code. This again is only for intraday, and 7 is for the custodians who have done API. So I think not for this audience. uh, Take note of the collateral cutoff time uh, for upstreaming of collateral. Cash PGFD 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Securities 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Allocation of collaterals, all segments except commodity 7 to 8 p.m. And with for commodity segment it is 7 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Collateral releases, we are there are certain collaterals which are released immediately, like cash, FDR, bank guarantee. The moment you put the request, it is processed, and within a time frame of few minutes, it is either reflected in your bank or in your account. We also have EOD releases for cash, BG, and FD, that is processed after the EOD request cutoff time of 8 p.m. For securities, we have interval batches. So the first one starts at 9:30, 12:30, then it's 4:30, 6, 7, 8. And of course, we also have EOD securities, which is processed after the cutoff time. Here, what we have to take note is that we request all the members to uh, release their securities for paying the day before the settlement is due. Otherwise, we do have 9:30 a.m. Release, which is sufficient enough to handle your pains, because your securities will be released by 10. To be on the conservative side, 10:30. But we don't want to wait till the last minute. So it should be only on exceptional basis where you have forgot or you have missed it on the previous day. You should use this window to release the securities and make it available for paying. Otherwise, you are expected to do it before the day previous to the settlement. uh, then we have uh, multiple intervals after the market ends, so that members can arrive at the early pain figures and start doing early pain. So we have 4:30 p.m., 6:30, 7, 8. So all those and probably going forward, I'll tell you that we are planning to increase this intervals as well. Yeah, so it's here in the play on the slide. So few things which have been part of collateral developments. Now you are aware that we have moved from file based mechanism to API based mechanism for pledge creation with both the depositories. So what has changed here is that earlier your time interval for getting a benefit of the security was around 40 to 50 minutes from the time you initiated a pledge till the time I would have received the file and process it. But now it has reduced to around 8 to 10 minutes. So with the API mechanism in place, if you make a pledge, the securities are received by us within 5 minutes, and another 2 to 3 minutes that gets processed. So probably a time of 8 to 10 minutes is required to accept the securities. Similarly, for pledge closure, we have implemented the API mechanism with NSDL, and with CDSL, we are still in the phase of testing. So that basically enables us to do more releases, because now it is API based. As I told earlier, that we have totally migrated from CIM to NMAS, and because we have implemented API for pledge closure, we are planning to increase the intervals for release of securities for the benefit of members. So we will have multiple batches. If you see, we had almost 6 to 7 batches. Now we will try to increase it and make it up to 8 to 10 batches during the day, so that it will help you in handling your securities pledge. And uh, probably we understand that you require it for paying, for redemption, and so on. So we will try to incorporate most of the timing suitable for it. So that ends the presentation for collaterals as well. Now, if there are any questions for either for Sachin or me, we'll take it up.
Yeah, hi,
Thank
Sijo.
you.
So I have put up, we received quite a few questions on the YouTube channel. So I posted them in the chat box for you and Sachin. If you can please take them. Thank you.
Sijo sir, I'll be reading out questions for you and Sachin ji, and you all can answer one by one. So the first question is regarding security valuation at NCL, AppSec versus VAR file. For the purpose of securities valuation at NCL, including short allocation monitoring, the securities are valued as per AppSec haircut. But while doing margin reporting and collation, Exchange has clarified to consider the VAR file. Now in back office, we are uploading the VAR file for the margin reporting and co-allocation. Now there is higher haircut in NSE as per AppSec file compared to VAR. Due to this, client come under short allocation due to haircut difference. We request to guide on the matter.
So NCL publishes the list of approved securities on a monthly basis, either on 20th of each month, or if it's a holiday, on the probably on the next working day. So there are two things which we have to note. One is the securities which are approved for the next month. So members are requested to take care of note of those. Probably some securities which were accepted earlier are not part of the list next month, or vice versa, which were not part of the list are part of the list in the coming month. So that is one thing. Second thing, for every type of security which we accept, we are mentioning what is the haircut which we will be taking. So if you take only for securities, we have bifurcated into two. So we have one list of securities where VAR will be your haircut. That is generally your top 50 securities. And apart from that top 50 securities, the formula is it will be either 20% or VAR, whichever is higher. So at least 20% will be your haircut. But if the VAR of the security is more than 20%, then VAR will automatically be the haircut. So members have to take note of this, and we are also generating a report by way of AppSec, which gives you the VAR and the price of the security which we are going to consider it for the next day. So that's an end of day report. So if today is 12th January, we will send this report by end of day in your extranet, or it is available on the website as well. You will find the price and the VAR which we are going to calculate for the next day. More to it, if you remember that the SecPledge file which was generated once in a day at the end of the day earlier, now is generated twice a day. So you will get the first file by, let's say, before 7 o'clock, where you will find the VAR and the pricing which we have done, which will be available for the securities throughout the day. And of course, at the end of the day, after whatever is the available balance at the end of the day. This is for securities. The confusion is more on the GSEC. So in GSEC, people are still referring to VAR, but the VAR in capital market segment, GSEC traded in capital market segment is fixed. However, in our circulars, the monthly circulars which we publish, we categorically tell what is the haircut which is will applicable to GSEC. Now it is very simple. It will be 2, 5, or 10. And this 2, 5, 1, 10, we have described for each security what will be the haircut, and that will be fixed for the month. It will not change through for any day in the given month. So the confusion is more on GSEC, which I have come across from the members. Securities, as I told, it will be either VAR or 20%, whichever is higher, for the other than those securities which are in the top 50. And members can use AppSec file for reference.
Okay. So the next question is how a CM can stop clients to use margins beyond 90% of the margins maintained with CM during market hours? If functionality is there, please show.
So currently, the functionality is only at the clearing member level and the trading member level, because restriction mode is available at is applicable at the clearing member level and trading member level. There is no such functionality at the client level. The thing is, even SEBI allows that the a client if there is a client excess non-cash, then that he can take exposure provided it is supported by the CM cash. So as such, if you ask me whether there is a functionality wherein we stop the client at 90%, the answer is no, because there is no restriction mode available at the client level. So that functionality is not available at the CC. It's only at the CM level and the TM level.
Okay. Next question is, if any client has sufficient non-cash collaterals but does not have minimum 50% cash collaterals, then whose funds the client's cash margin shortfall and how does it work?
So if there is an excess non-cash, there is no funding per se, because say, if we take this example, there is an excess non-cash available at the client level of say rupees 100, then this 100 rupees will become eligible to be passed on as benefit, provided there is a CM excess cash of 100. So if a CM is making is having an excess cash of 100, it doesn't mean that he's funding it. It's only making the non-cash eligible. So says to add to this example, say suppose the client margin is 100 rupees. The client he doesn't have any cash. He has only non-cash of 100 rupees. Then effectively, as per the scenarios, this 100 rupees margin will get added at the CM prop level. Then the next step would be whether there is an excess non-cash. The answer is yes. The amount is 100 rupees. Whether there is an excess CM cash. If the excess CM cash is available to the extent of 100 rupees, then this non-cash becomes eligible and it will be passed as a benefit at the CM prop level. So we have already added the 100 rupees as uncovered margins. Then we provide a benefit of this 100 rupees at the CM prop level. So effectively, the CM prop collateral is nothing is blocked. So amount blocked at the CM prop level is zero. If I want to emphasize over here, there is nothing called as funding. Even if a CM excess cash is available, it is only making the non-cash eligible or at the client level, so that it can be passed as a benefit. And once the benefit is passed on, to the extent the benefit is passed on, nothing will be blocked from the CM prop collateral.
Okay. So pertaining to this, we have received one question. Looks like in scenario 2, CM level margin available is 1,20,000. Then how could CM percentage will be 95%?
Yeah. So if I will share the scenario too, just for reference. Just a minute. Is my screen visible?
No, sir.
Just a minute. Yeah.
Yes, it
So
is. It is now.
yeah. So if you see, the CM collateral is 1,20,000 over here. The CM prop margin is 60,000, but there is an uncovered margin of 55,000, which is from the client level. So if you see, the client margin was 55,000. The effective collateral is zero because he had only given non-cash. So the client margin greater than 90% was 55,000, which got added to the CM prop margin. So the total margin utilized at CM prop margin was 1,15,000. Had there been excess CM cash at this level, which was there in scenario 1, then that excess cash would have been passed on as a benefit. So scenario 1 and scenario 2 are the same. There is an excess margin of 55,000, which is going to the CM prop level. But in case of scenario 1, his eligible non-cash of 45,000 became eligible because there was a CM excess cash of 70,000, 72,000. But in scenario 2, the eligible non-cash of 45,000 is not becoming eligible because the CM excess cash is zero. So in scenario 1, 55,000 got added, which got reduced by 45,000 of the eligible non-cash. In scenario 2, only 55,000 got added. There was no eligible non-cash to provide as benefit. So in scenario 1, where the amount of uncovered margins become 10,000, in scenario 2, it continued to remain 55,000. Therefore, the total margin increased from 70,000 over here to a scenario 2 where there is no excess cash. It became 1,15,000. And when divided by 1,20,000, the utilization comes to around 95.83%. I hope that answers the
Clarifies.
query.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Moving on to next question. Peak timing mismatch of different exchanges and CC. If you can highlight on this.
So within CC, we ensure that that the snapshot timing across segments that are being cleared at the CC, that is NSE clearing, that is the snapshot timings are across CM, FOCD, and commodity is the same. But when it comes to across exchanges or across CCs, there is no such requirement as of now from SEBI. The only requirement is that it should happen within a defined window, which is same across CCs. But within that defined window, it is very difficult for each CC to align that timings. So to answer your query, there is a common time snapshot across segments within a CC, but across CCs, it is not there in place as of now. And it is also not required by SEBI. The only requirement is that it should happen within a same time window.
Okay. Next question is why real estate investment trust and infrastructure investment trust are not part of clearing corporation's approved list of securities for collateral pledging.
So if you see the SEBI circulars as well, so only equities are considered to be part of collaterals.
Collaterals.
REITs and InvITs are separate instrument types and yet to be classified as equities. Even though we are seeing some development there, so the moment they are classified as equities, then we probably have to go to SEBI again and check whether we can take it as part of collaterals.
Okay. Next question is on we seek clarification regarding pro fund blocking under exchange RMS norms. Scenario: a client traded with rupees 1 CR collateral entirely in non-cash securities and utilized margin beyond 90% as well as 100% of non-cash collateral without maintaining the required 50% cash component. In this regards, kindly clarify when margin utilization exceeds 90% during intraday and pro funds are blocked, which exchange file reflects this blocked amount. In case of non-fulfillment of 50-50 cash and non-cash requirement, whether the cash shortfall of rupees 50 lakh is blocked at pro level? And if so, which exchange file reflects this blocked amount?
Okay, so to break this question, the query says that there is only 1 crore of non-cash available.
Yes.
There is either utilized margin is either utilized to 90% of that 1 crore or 100% of 1 crore. So let's take the first scenario. So
Right.
now the margins is 90 lakhs in this case. The non-cash is 1 crore. So what will happen is, since the effective collateral of the client is zero as per 50 is to 50 basis, the entire 90 lakhs will first be blocked from the CM prop margins. Since there is an excess non-cash available, which is 90% of 1 crore, again 90 lakhs is available. And then we will see whether there is an excess CM cash available. If the excess CM cash of 90 lakhs is available, then this 90 lakhs will be passed on as benefit, and the amount that will be blocked at the CM prop level will be zero. If there is no excess CM cash available, then in that case, since there is no benefit of the non-cash is available because there is no excess cash at CM prop level available, then in case the entire 90 lakhs will be blocked from the CM prop. Similarly, in case of a 1 crore requirement.
Okay.
So this is what we had covered in the scenario. So there is no 50-50 vis-a-vis CM and the client. For the client non-cash to be eligible, the same level of CM cash should be available. And once it is available, it is passed off as a benefit towards the margin. And whatever is the balance from the margins gets blocked from the CM prop.
Okay. How 50-50 work in deposit file?
Uh, So if I think there are two queries over here. Once whether they will be able to see it intraday. So we as a clearing corporation, we are not providing any file which shows as to how much is the client margin greater than 90%, what is the excess non-cash available, and how much of the excess non-cash is becoming eligible as benefit. But however, this information is provided on NMAS on a real-time basis,
Okay.
on an online basis. At the end of the day, however, we do provide a file called as MG01 and MG11. MG01 is in cash market, MG11 is in the derivatives market, wherein we show what is the TM prop margin and what is the TM margin greater than 90% as at the end of the day, which is getting blocked from the CM prop collateral.
Okay. Why the margin blocked if we pay full amount before market starts?
I'm not sure I get this query. When you say pay before the market starts, are we saying
Yes.
early paying?
Must be early paying only.
Early paying is immediately passed as a benefit. I'm not sure whether this, because there are two options available to get your get an exemption from margin. The moment you do an early paying, the margins gets reduced to that extent. Second, on a T+1 basis, there is an option called as full paying obligation. That is, you have if the member does a full paying of his funds paying obligation as well as does an early paying of securities on T+1 day, then the entire amount is dropped even before the settlement is margins are dropped even before the settlement gets completed.
Okay. EOD allocation is required if we are updating allocation file in BOD for order-wise trade allocation.
So there is no requirement to mandatorily have some separate EOD allocations. The idea is that if the client money is upstreamed, it has to be allocated. So if your client money is upstreamed in any form, cash, BG or FD, it has to be necessarily been allocated to the client.
Allocated to the
So if
client.
it is already done in intraday basis, separate allocation for EOD is not required.
Not required. Perfect. Where can we reconcile the cash adjusted against broker margin in the report for both intraday and EOD?
If we can get more on this query, reconcile as to what?
Reconcile the cash adjusted against broker margin.
So yeah, if I understood this query, the idea is the same. I mean, what Sachin has been saying, that if any prop money is utilized to cover the excess non-cash of the client, how it uh, is any report? Are there any reports which can identify? So no, I think if you see our NMAS reports, they are showing what is eligible. What will be utilized is based on which client rates, and that is not populated anywhere in the report. So if
Oh,
you ask me, is there any report? No. But potentially, which clients can utilize that collateral is available on NMAS.
okay. If can margin release on next working day if there is payout?
Mm,
I repeat, can margin release on next working day if there is payout?
So normally, if there's a funds payout and a securities payout at the member level, no margins are getting blocked. So
Okay.
See, here we see that, let's say two examples, cash market, see, the margins will be released only on completion of settlement at 11 o'clock. Whether you have funds payout, that is actually only at member level. Margins are levied at client level. So those margins will be there till the time the settlement completion at the market level is not over. So in capital market, it is 11 o'clock. Similar goes with derivative. If you have done your pay in with your bank at 8:30 p.m., that not necessarily ensure that the margins will go down. Only once the completion of settlement happens at CC, that is generally before 9 o'clock, you will see that the margins will be dropped for derivative segments. So these are the general parameters for dropping settlement at CC level, cash market at 11 o'clock, and derivatives at by 9 p.m. 9 a.m.
Okay. This question is related to commodity segment. remain open till 11:55 p.m., but API allocation stopped at 11:30 p.m.
So yeah, here we have done certain development from where we were earlier. Like
Mm.
earlier, we used to had a hard cutoff of 8 p.m. for all the segments. We have done some changes to enhance it till 11:30 p.m. We do understand that the market is open till 12, so we will
Correct.
try to see if we can in the future enhance it up to 12 p.m. So that is something is in our mind. We will try to we will see how this is possible for us to do it operationally.
Okay. Collateral allocation FNO segment, in case a custodial trade gets rejected at the end of the day from custody for any reason, then how the broker TM is supposed to allocate funds. Ideally, any rejected trade by CP is logically supposed to be in members book.
So here, yeah, the logic for any CP trade is that the allocations or the reporting goes with the clearing member. For rejected trades, I mean, there is no such provision for any reason code, but the members can ensure that wherever it gets rejected, those codes are allocated at least at the end of the day, because here intraday allocations are generally not possible. So allocation end of day is given in the given example, end of day shortfall is possible. So members are
Okay.
requested to allocate it to the client but before the end of day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Benefit of repledge shares is delayed as it seems to be on batch basis. Is there a processing speed advantage at NSCL and when using API for repledge allocation, deallocation and EPI?
So this I have already commented as part of the new developments. So if you see
Hmm.
from the old traditional batch systems, we have moved to API, and I have also told the time taken earlier was around 50-55 minutes. Now it is down to 8 to 10 minutes. So this is already in place. I don't think there should be any observations of late now.
Okay. Next question is, we follow the combined limit approach, and based on that, the client trades across multiple segments. In cases where a client square off a position in FNO and creates a new position in MCX, the peak margin gets captured separately by each exchange at different times. This results in margin requirements being considered in both segments, potentially leading to a shortfall in either of them. How should such scenarios be handled while reporting? Short allocation case where collateral valuation is considered for allocation as per AppSec, collateral value where same allocation value is considered on VAR basis in client margin reporting. Due to this difference in HC value, client marked as shortfall in intraday pick snapshot.
Yeah, this is because of the difference in the. I think that query was raised earlier also because this is
Hmm.
primarily due to difference in the snapshot timings between two different CCs, and that is why this situation occurs. So he might have squared off, but the snapshot was taken before the square off at that other
Correct.
CC, and by
Correct.
the time he comes over here, and again a snapshot is taken, so it reflects as margins in both CCs. uh, what members normally do is because they approach the member monitoring team at NSE Clearing stating this. There is no reason code per se, but they do approach the member monitoring team stating these facts. Member monitoring team analyzes this on a case to case basis and accordingly considers them.
Okay. Could you please let us know if there is a way to receive the margin computation file on a regular basis in FTP other than downloading it from NMAS?
No, as of now, there is no such provisions. However, based on member feedbacks that they wanted API for such data, uh, internally probably some work is going on, but we don't have any concrete dates or commitments for that, but we have taken this as a feedback earlier as well.
Okay. Uh, so, we have actually received many queries on YouTube chat box. So, what we can do is, I mean, we will forward it to you, and you can answer those queries, and then we will share it with the members. Is that okay?
Yes, it is fine. I mean, yes, yes.
Shital, if it is okay, and if it's okay with the team, let's take 15 minutes and try and address as much as we can. Is that okay? Would that be all right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, fine with
Yeah,
us
so
as well.
we put all the queries in the chat box. If you can just relate them to the scenarios we have showed and explain them, it'll be helpful.
so I'll read out the questions.
No, actually, what I would suggest, Shital, let them.
Mhm.
Sijo, Sachin, is
Yes,
the chat visible to you?
yes, yes, we can see certain
So
queries there.
then if you can please just go through the queries, and you'll be able to do
Yeah,
it in a faster pace, and you can pick up the relevant ones and remove the duplicate ones.
yes, sure.
Thank you.
So one query I can see, SE04 file adds back value of excess disallowed quantity. Request NCL to make same adjustment on all SA03 snapshots. So which we have mentioned that we can only do this when the snapshot is taken. So snapshot, at the time of snapshot, it only captures the value of collateral and margins available in that segment. Any excess collateral can only be arrived after seeing the snapshot. That is why these adjustments are done in the SS04 snapshot instead of doing it or expecting it in the peak margin snapshot. One question is, the client has funds available with the broker in the ledger and basis which he has stated, but due to technical issue, the same was not allocated for the entire day. Is there any reason code? So there is no reason code here. However, for if is there any technical issue for which allocation was missed, they can refer this to our team on the portal where they would request for a waiver of penalty. Definitely, those will be considered provided sufficient reasoning and documentation is made available to the compliance team.
There's one query: can clearing corporations consider collateral across other CCs for intraday and EOD short allocation calculations? So this information visibility is not available to us as to what has been allocated at the other CC. That is why the reason code 01 has been given. And the reason code 01 is then validated by our NCL's compliance team by taking confirmation from the other CCs.
One question is that whether we can have a reason for error account. So we have to understand that error account is something which is a practice wherein in wrong trades have been moved to prop using error account. We would suggest that for us it is just a client code. So if there is a scenario where they have moved it to error account on account of incorrect trade, they can allocate this to some money to this error account so that you don't find any shortfall either at intraday or end of day. So the prop money for error account is what is suggested. The other question is, there is a difference in value for GSEC. Again, as I mentioned, there is a confusion in terms of haircut which is applicable for GSEC. So it is not the VAR. VAR is not only for securities, not for GSEC. For GSEC, it is 2, 5, or 10, depending on which bracket it falls, as per the circular provided by NSE Clearing on a monthly basis. So, so please, you don't use Bhav copy for the sake of haircuts, which is applicable for GSEC. Use the files or the circulars which will be issued by NCL on a monthly basis. There is one query. Please explain handling of FDR maturity on Saturday or Sunday or any holiday. What we can do here is that if it is maturing on Saturday, it will not impact your data for Friday. But when you start on Monday, definitely there are two ways of handling it. Either you do a renewal earlier on Monday before the market starts. We expect the renewals by 8:30, or else if you think that the bank will take more time to put the renewal, you make the collateral available for maturity on Friday, so that the maturity does not reduce amount from your from your prop account, and renew it again on Monday. So this is the advice I would give for any FDRs which are maturing on Saturday or Sunday.
So I believe all the queries mentioned in the chat has been answered. If not, we'll come back and Sijo and Sachin will definitely give the feedback onto them. So you
Okay,
can proceed,
so
Sital. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you very much, Sijo sir and Sachin ji. I request all the members, if they have further queries, they can write it to anmiwr@anmi.in. Members can email their queries to anmiwr@anmi.in. We will forward it to NCL team, and once we receive answers from them, we will share it with the members. So now I invite our Vice Chairman, Western Region Vice Chairman, Mr. Mahesh Kumar, for vote of thanks. Over to you, sir. Mahesh Kumar, sir.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Shital, for the introduction. This is Mahesh here. Good evening, everyone. It was really an insightful session which the NCL team has given us. Thanks to Mr. Sijo and Mr. Sachin. It was really fruitful, and we really thank the NCL team for their unwavering support which they have given us continuously in helping all the members to and me to get insightful information. A special thanks to both of you. Without you guys, we would not have been able to understand or get more insightful ideas about this. Thank you once again to our members and participants. It was really great, and we would like to thank you for having asked or come out with a lot of questions here. And I think Sijo and Sachin would be more than happy to give answers to the balance questions if anything is pending. Thank you once again to all of you for the valuable time which has been given. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mahesh ji. I would like to announce one more thing. To the members that we are coming up with one more webinar with NCL. Maybe in the next week, we will just schedule the date, time, and the topic, and accordingly, we will inform the members for the next webinar. Mostly, it would be in the next week. So, thank you very much once again to all of you for taking time out for today's webinar. Thank you, members. Thank you, speakers, guest speakers. Thank you,
Thank you.
Arjun sir. Thank you, Mahesh
Thank
ji.
you all.
Mahesh sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yep.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sijo.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sachin.